At Zoos Victoria, we know that some animals are just a little bit harder to love. The crawly, sticky, squawky animals that aren't as charismatic as some others.
Ugly. Sorry.
No. Yuck. No.
Let's see if we can change some minds about these animal underdogs and see if we can get you to love them as much as we do. First, let's head to Werribee Open Range Zoo.
Today we're going to be focusing on a native keystone species, an animal that provides so much for its environment but can sometimes stir up some pretty strong feelings. Bats have a bit of a reputation for being a hotbed for some of the world's toughest viruses. But scientists think the reason why bats harbour so many viruses is that their immune systems are simply far superior to that of the humble human being. The viruses that bats catch have to adapt and work a lot harder to mutate than they would if these viruses started out life in our bodies. You might not know that flying foxes and fruit bats have another hidden talent.
They play a really important role in pollination, particularly of eucalypt forests, and that provides food for animals like koalas and possums, but also provides us with the forests that supply our oxygen.
That's right. Champions like this injured grey-headed flying fox, a species classified as vulnerable in the wild, are responsible for maintaining countless ecosystems as they travel across the country. The eucalyptus forests that allow iconic animals such as the koala to survive are helped in part by these unsung heroes. So when you do spot a flock of flying foxes filling the night sky, you might like to think of them as forces of good, nature's superheroes spreading vegetation far and wide.
Let's go see Amy at Melbourne Zoo, who's about to meet an animal who's a true unsung hero of its habitat.
So today's animal might give most animal lovers the heebie-jeebies, but this critter is capable of keeping our forest floors clean and making the environment a place where all animals can thrive.
So one person that loves all things crawly is ectotherm keeper Melvin Nathan. Melvin, what are ectotherms?
Well, ectotherms are a group of animals that actually rely on an external source of heat. Things like bugs, reptiles, and even frogs. So things like a sun, a really warm rock, where they actually have to absorb that heat to go about their daily business.
Melvin, where are we and who lives in here?
We are in the bug cabin, and we generally keep it anywhere between 26 to 28 degrees. And our residents in here are things from leaf insects, praying mantises, and of course, our giant burrowing cockroach. Giant burrowing cockroaches are actually quite unique, and you will not find them in your house. They're actually native to far north Queensland. The ones that you might find here in your house are actually introduced. Victoria and even Australia have a plethora of colourful and wonderful cockroaches.
These guys serve a pretty important role in the ecosystem. Can you tell us a little bit about what sort of role they play?
Giant burrowing cockroach is actually one of the original recyclers and been doing it for thousands of years. They go around the forest floor, scurrying along, feeding on dry eucalyptus leaves, and pretty much mulching up the forest floor. So it's a really cool role of fertilising the ecosystem.
These guys care for and raise their young differently to other insects. Is that right?
Yeah, it's really fascinating. In fact, a lot of insects don't even have any maternal care at all, where these guys are actually quite special. So what they do is actually the mum digs a burrow when she's about to nest, and then she actually gives birth to live young. And she can have up to 20 in a litter. And what she does is she cares for them for up to a year, and she even drags food down for her young, chews them up as well.
I hope we've managed to change your mind about the divisive cockroach and showing them to be the offspring-loving composters, taking care of forest floors and making the environment a better place for all animals.
Let's head to Hillsville Sanctuary and talk rodents. Native rodents, of course.
Rodents, like rats and mice, are one of the harder to love species that we might encounter, especially if you find them in your home. Keeper Jason is keen to sing the praises of our many homegrown rodents.
They're pretty smart animals. A lot of rodents are really intelligent, very quick to learn and to pick up ways to take advantage of their environment and their surroundings. We do have a lot of native rodents in this country. The main difference between a rodent and a marsupial is the female marsupials will have a pouch, which they'll carry their young in. The rodents don't have a pouch at all. And also the teeth. The marsupials tend to have more teeth than a rodent, although a rodent does have rootless teeth, which means they grow throughout their whole life. And they're constantly having to chew to keep those teeth down.
How do the native rodents differ from introduced species?
A lot of our native rodents have been here for a very long time and have evolved with Australia itself to adapt to the climates and the changes and things like that. The European rodents pretty much arrived here on the first fleet from Europe and other countries, and they're very rarely found in a wild situation. They're always found around habitation where people live, farms and things like that.
Now, some people might get the heebie-jeebies if they see a mouse in their house, but what's the importance of rodents in our ecosystem?
The reason we should appreciate rodents is because they're very intelligent, they're very good at taking advantage of their environment and adapting to quick changes to that environment. And they're just a very important part of the ecosystem. They feed a lot of animals themselves, a lot of reptiles, snakes and goannas. They actually go towards feeding animals like owls and raptors, especially a lot of our endangered owl species. They can clean up a couple of thousand mice every year.
Let's say you're a visitor at Hillsville Sanctuary and you're not a big fan of rodents. What would you say to them?
I think those visitors should come down to Animals of the Night and check out our hopping mice and our dunarts and our quolls and just see just the diversity we have in this country when it comes to rodents, when it comes to marsupials. Just see just how many varieties there are out there in this country, because it's just amazing.